Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 3 of the King's Game Podcast. I am your host, King Narakami. Thank you so much for joining us today. We're doing a little something different this time. Episode 3, I thought it would be the perfect time to talk about the PlayStation 3. And that's all because of what Sony has announced in this past couple of weeks with the PlayStation Store closing and all of that, but we'll get to that in a second. I want to first welcome my guests to the stream. First off, we got David from his YouTube channel, DavidCast JRPGs. How you doing today, man?
I'm doing great, man. How about you? Thanks for having me on.
Of course, and happy Easter to you, man. We're recording this on Easter Day, Easter night, having a few drinks, and I think we're going to have a good time talking about the PS3 and reminiscing a bit.
Yes, sir.
And also, I have Kuro for the Midnight channel as well. How you doing, Kuro?
Hey, thanks for having me here. I'm doing great. Thank you for inviting me.
Of course, anytime. You're always welcome to my show, man, anytime. Always love having you two on, so I feel like it's almost magic whenever all three of us are together working on a project. So, anyways, let's just go ahead and get this started. In the past couple of weeks, Sony released a statement saying that the PS3 Store, its online store, will be closing on July 2nd, 2021. I know you guys have probably been following that announcement too. What did you guys think about it? Did you think it was inevitable? Did you guys think it would happen later on? I want to get your guys' thoughts on the PlayStation 3 Store closing.
I'll be... Go ahead, dude.
I was gonna say, it actually took longer than expected because Nintendo closed the Wii like 2-3 years ago already. So like the fact that anybody's mad that the PS3 is closing, it baffles me because I'm like, yo, Nintendo did this not that long ago, like a couple of years ago. So no, I don't remember like people getting super upset with the Wii one. And if I don't know, correct me if I'm wrong, but the Wii sold way better than the PS3.
Oh yeah, it outsold PlayStation 3 and 360.
Mm-hmm.
So the fact that people are like mad at this one, but like they weren't super mad at the Wii, like it kind of like it's kind of like a. To me, I'm kind of confused about it, but I'm like it was what we expected. I mean, like
oh yeah,
so the Wii's closed. They closed a while ago, so I'm like I didn't expect them to continue to keep it forever.
David.
I'm gonna go with my selfish answer first. I don't really care. To be honest, I own the DLC that I wanted to get. Like I know, King, I don't want to spoil it. I know you're probably gonna talk about that later. But there's some DLC for games that I really love that I already have downloaded on my original PS3, and I am a physical game collector. Like I have 3 shelves now full of games, so I collect physical games. I spend way too much money on old games, which is dumb, but I still do it. So I don't really care, but I gotta mention, I really do understand why people care. So I understand why it's a big deal. For me personally, it's not really an issue. And I, just like Kuro, I'm kind of surprised that it happened so late because it would happen at some point for sure. I mean, they're paying to keep those servers up. And
right.
It's not bringing them money anymore. Why keep them running?
Right. And here's the thing. It's not like anyone was buying from it right now anyways. The only thing I went back and got, because I knew it would be the last time to get some of it, I just got some Persona 4 Arena DLC. I got some PS2 ports, which we'll talk about later, that were on the PS3 as well. By the way, some of those really ran like shit. And the only other thing I'm going to get, probably when the Vita store closes down in August, which I'll have a separate episode this week for that, about the Vita. But the only thing I'm pretty much going to get is all the P4D DLC. That's it. I mean, it's not a huge issue, but I think it's not a reason to be alarmed now, but I think it's a reason to be alarmed for the future of gaming, because if we can't really preserve this stuff, that's why I love physical collecting. The only way you can take away my discs is if someone comes in and steals them, or if my house burns down, which I take good care of my stuff. So, I mean, a digital license can be revoked at any time. Unfortunately... What was that, Kiro?
From here, you're still able to download
right,
even after they close the store, right? You can still
correct. But one day that will be gone as well. So
yeah, I guess so.
Yeah, so I'm just a big fan of video game preservation, but I don't want to go all night about this. But
we could.
Yeah, we could. That could be a whole nother episode. I think it's important. But anyways, let's just go and get things started right here. Our topics today include the history of the PlayStation 3. Of course, during my podcast, I like to talk about ATLUS, so we'll go over ATLUS published and developed PS3 games and our favorite PS3 memories. So let's just go ahead and start off with the history of the PlayStation 3. The PlayStation 3 was first shown May 16, 2005 at E3. If you guys remember, Sony revealed it, and the controller of it was really weird looking, very different from the original design. It was like a boomerang prototype design of the 6-axis controller. Do you guys remember this at all?
Yeah, I don't remember this.
I remember the controller, not the announcement precisely. But, yeah, crazy stuff.
Everyone remembers the controller. Everyone remembers that controller. It was so ugly, man. It was also... It's not that this... It was, like, silver plated as well. It had, like, silver on it as well. But, dude, it looked like it could be, like, so uncomfortable to, like, use.
Yeah. It's crazy how they went from this design to basically just taking the cord off the PS2 controller and releasing it that way.
So, imagine them... 15 years later, in like 2021, revealing that design of a controller. The internet would go crazy with the memes with that.
Yep.
Dude, that it would be so bad. Anyways, the next year at E3 2006, the prices of the PlayStation 3s were formally announced. 20 gigabyte model is going to be $499. 60 gigabyte model would be a whopping $599. I don't think that the reception to that was very well received. What did you guys think? Did you buy a PS3 at launch? Did that price kind of sway you not to get one? I want to get your guys' opinion.
I didn't get one at launch simply because I was too young to buy a console myself. And my parents wouldn't buy me a console day one. There was no way. So, no, didn't get it at launch. I got it later down the line, but again, we'll probably talk about that later. So, no, not at launch for me.
Yeah, actually, I got it within a few weeks from launch. My grandpa was like, "Okay, I'll pay half if you pay the other half." So I worked at a factory for like a few weeks or months to buy it. But yeah, that's pretty much that. It was expensive at the time. Like it was even more expensive. Like if you compare it to like money nowadays, like it's like still more expensive.
Because the PS5 is what, $499, correct?
Yeah, but like if you look at the what do you call it, the dollar value of like 2006 versus 2020, right, it's still more money back then than now.
Right.
But yeah, no, it really shocked me. It really did. I honestly I wasn't gonna buy it, but just because my grandpa was like, "Oh, you know, it was close to my birthday," so I was like, "Okay, you know, I'll thank you."
Oh yeah, I'd take that in a heartbeat. Anyways,
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah,
if you don't mind.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah.
I would just like to know: do you remember which game made you buy the system back in the day?
Me?
Yeah. When you bought it, if you bought it fairly soon, so I'm kind of curious to hear if there was one game in particular, or if you just wanted to upgrade.
There was a game, I don't remember what was it. 2006 was it?
Yep, 2006.
I'm gonna have to look it up right now.
I tell you what, I'm actually going to talk about the launch games here in a second. So if you hear it, let me know. All right?
Yeah. Go ahead.
So the PlayStation 3 was released on November 11, 2006 in Japan, November 17th here in the US. It's also almost a year after the Xbox 360 started the 7th generation of consoles. So Sony releases their 7th generation console a whole year after 360. You could say that, 360 had the advantage, but Sony, I believe, was thinking that since the PlayStation 2 sold so well, that people will buy it regardless. People would want this product regardless. What did you guys think? Do you think that Microsoft had the advantage of a year release? Did Sony take too long to develop this thing? What do you think?
Xbox had a bunch of advantages. I think pricing. They already had like a really dedicated fan base. Like if you really think about it, Halo had the best games in the 360 era. I'm sorry, Halo, and
Microsoft.
Microsoft, yeah. They just had the such a big community at the time. I remember buying the PS3, like nobody had a fucking PS3. Everybody had a 360. So like I just feel like they took too long, and the price was like way like it just didn't make sense. I think to a lot of people.
David, what do you think?
I think the price was a big deal. Like, I remember people picking up, I don't remember the price, but there was like a 360 model which had like, I don't know, like 20 gigabytes or some crazy thing like that, and it was super cheap. Like, and I remember seeing that right next to the brand new PlayStation 3 at Walmart, and the price difference was so big that, like, I even remember talking to my parents about it, and it was like, why don't you want the Xbox? I was like, no, I don't want this one, but it's like way more expensive. So I know the price was a big reason why they kind of struggled, at least when it started.
Well, let me tell y'all what jacked up the price, because that was my next topic that I wanted to talk about, the features of the PlayStation 3 at launch. Of course, you had those HD graphics. It was capable of producing 720p output for games. Of course, it had Blu-ray support as well, 1080p Blu-ray support. And it also had a PS2 compartment built in for backwards compatibility, which really drove up the price of the console itself, because it's like basically having its own PS2 inside the system as well, because there was a lot of special requirements that was required for it. So that's why I think that's part of the reason why it took so much to develop. Do you guys think they should have dropped that PS2 backwards compatibility support at the beginning? Obviously, we know the Blu-ray stuff worked out, and people got PS3s just to have a Blu-ray player back in the day, but do you guys think that PS2 backwards compatibility was worth it? Did you ever use it? I want to get your opinions.
I always wanted
Oh yeah, I used it a whole lot. I thought it was one of the best features. Go ahead.
It really is. And unfortunately, my history is not the same as yours. I always thought it was awesome, the backwards compatibility. I'm a big fan of backwards compatibility, especially since I do have my old PS1 and PS2 games. So I thought that was an amazing feature. But unfortunately, when I jumped into the PS3, there were no more systems being backwards compatible, sold brand new. So I had to get the Slim model, which is the second model that they released. Oh. Right. The third one, sorry, like not the backwards compatible one, not the second fat PS3, but the third one, the Slim. And this one is not backwards compatible with PS2, only PS1, so I didn't experience it. I did buy a backwards compatible PS3, but that was 2 months ago. So that's super recent.
And
so
you paid a pretty penny for it too, I'm sure.
I paid like a pretty good price though. It's like it's completed box. It's in really good shape, and it's the Metal Gear Solid 4.
I remember you showing that to me. That was really cool. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I paid like $280 for that, but it's Canadian, so I think that's like $230 for you guys, which it's a very decent price for this system, complete in the condition that it is and all. But I do know that it's a system that's extremely fragile. So I'm being very careful with it. I really don't want to break it or anything, because I can play like Digital Devil Saga on it, and it's cool.
Yeah, a lot of aspects of that was cool. I remember buying it precisely because I wanted to see HD graphics of the PlayStation 1 and 2 game.
Yeah,
that was one of the things that like really because my I remember when we got our first like LED TV, back in the day, they were super expensive and everything, and I remember telling my dad, I'm like, yo, if we get the PS3, we can watch some Blu-rays, but also like I want to see how good the games look on HD, because the HD was like a big jump. I feel like that was one of the biggest jumps like as a generation.
It really was.
From the PlayStation 1 to the PlayStation 2, there was a jump, but it wasn't as pronounced as like watching games in 3D or like in HD. And I remember getting the Tony Hawk skater game, where it's like Project 8 or something like that.
Yes.
And I was blown away. Like I obviously, like now you look at it, you're like, it doesn't look like super realistic. But when I remember watching it and buying it for the first time and playing it, I was like super blown away with like the graphics and the HD and everything. Like I don't know, like looking back, it doesn't seem like a big deal, but to me it was like such a big impact, I guess.
Well, I still had a CRT TV until like 2010, and even then I had my PS3 back in 2010 as well, so I was using the yellow, white, and red cables. I'm not sure what they are, composite cables, I'm not sure, but I was still using that for the PS3. It was in a weird time for sure, because HD TVs hadn't been like the new norm yet. You know what I'm saying?
Right, yeah.
So it was a weird time, but I think Sony was really thinking ahead with this console. Anyways, let's talk about launch titles, guys. Let's just, I've got the entire list of launch titles to give you guys, and if you remember them, go ahead and let me know if you played them or not, any thoughts on them. So we're going to go alphabetical order here. Blast Factor, Call of Duty 3, Genji, Days of the Blade, Madden.
I also played that one.
Yep. So you got Call of Duty and Genji. Madden.
Call of Duty was not even a new game. Like, it
Right.
was on PS2, right? So
Right.
Right, it was an HD, like an HD remaster kind of thing.
Right.
that launch lineup is ass.
Oh man, we ain't even halfway across it, bro.
I know, but I have the list here.
Madden NFL 07. Hey, I love Madden. So, Marvel Ultimate Alliance, a really good game actually.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Love that.
Not a new game either.
Nope, it was on PS2. Yeah. Mobile Suit Gundam Crossfire. You had NBA 07, NBA 2K7, Need for Speed Carbon, Resistance Fall of Man, Ridge Racer 7. Kuro mentioned this earlier. Tony Hawk's Project 8, Tiger Woods PGA Tour 07, and Untold Legends Dark Kingdom. So, what do you guys think? Hot or garbage?
Garbage.
Hot garbage.
Yeah.
I played, in all of those, I played Resistance, which I think is a fun co-op shooter.
Yeah.
I played Need for Speed, which is okay, definitely a downgrade from what we had on GameCube and PS2.
Mm-hmm.
And I played Marvel Ultimate Alliance, which is a cool game. But that's like a solid 5 out of 10 launch lineup to me.
You're being really generous with that 5 out of 10.
Yeah, I thought Motor Storm was a launch game, but it's not.
No, it's not. Motorstorms was a title that they released when they tried to do the 3D graphic thing, where they made this PS3 TV where you put glasses on.
Oh, yeah.
boy.
Oh, man. I really wanted to include that as part of my stream, but I didn't. So let's just go ahead and talk about it right now. We might as well just briefly mention it. Yes, PlayStation did try 3D gaming technology with the PS3. I, for one, my parents bought a HD 3D TV in the living room, so I got to experience some of that. Dude, I played Uncharted 3 for it, and it hurt my eyes. I think the game was running at a solid 20 frames per second in 3D. I thought it was a cool idea, but it just strained my eyes. Do you guys have any experience with that 3D gaming technology?
I never played it, but I had this one friend that had like this PlayStation TV that came with the glasses, like their little TV. I think it was like 25-inch or something.
Not to be confused with the console.
No, yeah, exactly. The TV and the console and the little glasses that you had to put, but I never tried it. But I remember it always intrigued me. Not surprised to hear that it wasn't that great, though.
Oh, wow. So I'm the only one that actually experienced the whole thing. I actually, now I'm thinking about it, I had every single gimmick from PlayStation. Oh, wow, that's weird. I have. So, yes, I have a Sony TV, but it's like a 50-inch. It was compatible with the 3D models and everything, so they do come with glasses, but it wasn't like the little. It wasn't the little PlayStation. It was a Sony like Bio. I don't know what the brand is. Bravia, I think it's called.
Bravia, yep, Bravia. Yep, we had one too.
Yeah. And it's the one that has 3D on it, so it's able to emulate 3D. So you put your glasses on and it makes everything 3D.
Yes, I remember that.
And it was compatible with the PS3, where you could play games that were 3D compatible and everything. It was a cool experience. The motorcycle game, I think I was like the only one that actually kind of worked well with it. But I wouldn't say it's like extended periods of time when it comes to it. It's the same thing with the Nintendo 3DS. It's the same kind of technology. But like obviously, like if you play like we do, like you're gonna turn that off really fast.
Yeah, it's cool for a little bit, but obviously that's not the way you want a game. The only time I used the 3D extensively on our TV was when I got some Marvel movies in 3D, like Thor in 3D. That was really cool to watch. But nowadays, I'm just like, I'm good. Let me just watch the TV screen without having to put on these stupid glasses.
Even when I go to the theater, I'm like, I want the standard version, please.
Yeah,
That's
please.
always what I do. Like,
Yeah, it's also now if you go to the movie theater, you're watching them in like what is like the 4D.
oh, yeah.
40X, yes.
That is
Like that.
cool. That is pretty cool. But watching them
It's
when
a
you're
cool gimmick.
Yeah.
But it's not something that I want to get every single
Kuro, I think they're going to have the new Demon Slayer movie in 40X, by the way.
yeah, they do. Yeah, it'll be cool to watch.
I gotta see that. Anyways, the PlayStation 3 had a couple of redesigns during its lifetime. One was the Slim redesign in September of 2009, and the other was another Super Slim in September of 2012. Also with these redesigns, it lost PS2 compatibility support. Did you guys have these models? That's the one I bought. The Slim model is the one I bought, but which models did you have? And what did you think of these two models right here?
I got the Slim, and I only have good things to say about it because I still own mine. And now it's how many years old? It's 12 years old now, and I still have it, and it still runs perfectly fine. I still have my original controller too, and I smashed it multiple times back in the day. So it's a very reliable system, very well made. It's ugly, but it's well made, and it works.
And it was cheaper for them to develop as well.
Yeah, it's cheaper for us too. It wasn't. I didn't pay $500 for it.
It was $300.
Pretty sure. 300. So here you go.
It's pretty good.
Awesome.
Price. So I had all of them, but the Super Slim. So I had the original one, the very first one they released. I believe it's a 60 gigabyte, right?
It was 20 and a 60.
Yeah, so I had the 60 gigabyte one, and I was playing Bayonetta, and it fried the PlayStation. It was in the part where she was gonna Sailor Moon her transformation or whatever at the very beginning of the game, and it just like it crapped out. So Sony was really generous, and they sent me a replacement, which they just completely covered it and everything. That was my second PS3, but because the 60 gigabytes were no longer being made at the time, they sent me a 40 gigabyte one. Which I had
Not
that one.
backwards compatible, right?
Not backwards compatible.
Oh, that sucks. Oh.
Big downgrade, yeah.
Not only that, but I lost my save file for both P3 and P4, which I was playing at the time. So
That's really tough. You had to replay P3, so that's really.
David, I don't want to hear it from you, bro. Man, you are the only one here that will diss P3. I don't want to hear it.
The rough part was playing P4 again in the part that I was. There's like a specific dungeon that pissed me off, so I was like,
Well, at least you didn't have to deal with Marie.
Was it? No, it was a P4G. That was the original.
Exactly, you didn't have to deal with Marie at all. Better times.
And
At
so
least she's great singing in the concert in the anime.
Don't even go there, David. Bro, do you want to piss me off?
So then this one also died. So they sent me a second replacement.
Oh.
So at the time I got the slim version, the one that David has, and that one worked great. I tried to fix the old one, the 40 gig one that I had, because Sony at that point didn't want it back. They just gave me another one, but they didn't want the 40 gig one. I guess because they had so many issues with them, they weren't taking them anymore. So I fixed it momentarily, and then I sold it to GameStop.
I had like 0 issues with my Slim model. I had one issue where the disk drive kind of was failing a little bit, but all I had to do was open it up and just put like some rubbing alcohol on the laser.
I had no issues with the slim one. All of the models that I had were the fat models. Until the last one, the slim one's still working. It's a nice DVD player nowadays.
Hey, and can play your Blu-rays too. Honestly, when I first moved into my apartment, we had it in the living room as a Blu-ray player.
I mean, I still have mine as a Blu-ray player. Like, My backwards compatible one is in the game room, and my Slim is in the living room. And this is when I watch a Blu-ray with my girlfriend. This is what we use.
It's a good Blu-ray player.
Absolutely. For Netflix and all, it was great. Before we had a Chromecast, we used it all the time.
Oh yeah,
Netflix, YouTube, all of that.
Man, I thought it was a shit because I could hook this PlayStation up to my TV and go online and everything, bring up its internet browser and everything, and watch movies online and everything. And I thought that was no, of course not. Don't come at me, government.
I just used it for porn. You couldn't, it couldn't get hacked.
Heyo! bro, I bet your search history's dirty. You better delete that shit.
Hey, the PS3 was the wonderful technology.
Let's just say the PSP was better because it was portable, so you could take it to the toilet with you.
No.
No, you're gonna get that thing dirty.
Why are the buttons so sticky? Anyways. Alongside with the launch of the PlayStation 3, also launched the PlayStation Network. It was released the day of PS3 release, November 11th, 2006. Now, Xbox already has Xbox Live service, which I'm pretty sure cost money at the time, even at first, but let's just go over some of the features that PlayStation Network had. You could play multiplayer games online. It was for free. It's a free service. You can access this.
That's a win against Xbox.
Yep. Except that it wasn't the most reliable. And we're going to talk about that here in like a couple of minutes. You got access to digital games. You had PlayStation Home. Do you guys remember PlayStation Home?
Oh man, yeah. I made so many friends in that.
Yes, dude, that was so good. So, do you know what it is, David?
No.
Okay, so PlayStation Home was like a social kind of experience that you can create your own avatar and put him in his own house, and you can go outside your house and interact with other people's avatars in the world and talk to them and do like special events together.
It's like Sims, but every person has their own avatar, and you guys all hang out. You could even play games together.
Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
Like you could play PlayStation 1 games too. Like I remember going to the arcades, and you could play with other people and everything. It was actually pretty cool. I'm surprised they canned it, but it was really nice. I used
to, being like a weird kid in high school and everything, with a little bit of social anxiety, I always found comfort in PlayStation Home myself. It was a great way to connect with others that loved the same things I did. And I think it was really an underrated service. I think, not that I would get on it today or anything, but I think if Sony would bring that back, because they were making a lot of money off of it, because you could purchase like furniture and stuff for your house and everything. People were like hardcore into this. David, do your research after this.
And they had like TVs and the shirts are customizable too. You could have shirts of your favorite characters from the games and everything. It was crazy, actually. Yeah.
You know what? I'm in Canada. For those of you listening who don't know, and I feel like that might have been like more popular in the States than it was here, because I've never heard of that. And I jumped in the PS3 hype train kind of soon, and my PS3 collection is my biggest collection. I have a ton of games for the system. So yeah, I'll check it out. It's surprising to me. Actually, I'll check it out right now.
Yeah, man. It was such an interesting concept. I feel like it was ahead of its time. The load times on it were kind of like garbage, but it was just, to me, it was a fun experience overall. And it's probably one of the biggest things that I remember from the PS3 days. I don't know about you, Kuro, but that's one of the things that stick out to me.
Oh, yeah. Wow. I have a lot of things that stick out to me. For the PS3 was like really experimental for Sony. They did a lot of different stuff with like the 3D thing, the 3D TV thing that you were talking about, and the PlayStation Home was a big deal too. I don't know if you remember. I don't know if you have this as well to talk about, but they also had like the VR thing. Well, it wasn't really VR. It was like augmented reality.
Yeah.
PS3 camera thing.
Yeah. The PlayStation camera. Yeah.
Yeah.
The iToy.
Yeah.
iToy, yeah.
And then I don't know if you remember, were you guys hearing the podcast that I had with the Eye of Judgment card game?
Yes, that was.
You were
We
there?
went on a massive tangent for this one.
We had so there was this game that kind of like Yu-Gi-Oh actually, where it was so much like Yu-Gi-Oh. So it scanned your cards, and you were playing against the computer or against other people, and you could have like your whole deck, and you play a card, and it will summon it like a little avatar of the card. It was crazy. It was stupid, but
Really stupid.
back in the day, it was like so technologically advanced, I guess. I don't know, but it reminded me of Yu-Gi-Oh so much.
Why don't we have a Yu-Gi-Oh game like that? It would make so much money.
Oh, they do.
No, like you could like augmented reality, kind of like a VR kind of thing, where you can like summon monsters and everything. That'd be so cool. Like an official game.
There's arcades about it. You never been to arcades?
Huh?
Never been to the arcades, to the augmented reality arcades?
No.
Oh, they're super cool, man. You should definitely go.
Man,
They're
if I could duel somebody and I see the monster in front of me, bro, that would like blow my mind. But we're not here to talk about Yu-Gi-Oh. We could do that anytime. What I want to do next is talk about something that happened on 420, which someone was probably smoking something that day, because on April 20th, 2011, there was a breach of the PlayStation Network. This breach exposed the personal information of up to 77 million users, including their name, addresses, the countries that they live in, email addresses, birth date, and PSN login info. Now, the mind-blowing thing about this is everyone's personal info was not encrypted, which got me. It's like there in like perfect like letter format and everything. Do you guys remember this hack and everything, and what you had to go through back then?
I remember being really annoyed, not about the hack itself, because I always use an alias and none of my information was leaked, but I was really annoyed about not being able to play certain games and everything.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm looking in, I'm like, I can't play all these games, and these lasted for months. It wasn't like a day or two. It was months before
Oh yeah.
they got everything back up and everything. And sure, they gave away some free games, which was nice, I guess. But at the same time, I was like, this doesn't...
Your personal info is only worth 2 games.
Yeah, like months of not being able to play games either. Like, I don't know, I used to play online a lot more than I do now. But I remember just being so sad and disappointed about it.
Oh yeah, I do remember it. It was a big deal, and same at this point, I was in my little time frame of as a gamer where I was only playing like Call of Duty online. So I was complaining not being able to play it online. I do remember the free games though. I was broke back in the day, so the 2 free games that we got were cool. Was it like, I'm trying to test my memory, but I think it was like Little Big Planet.
Yes.
And Infamous, right?
Infamous, yeah. Infamous was one of them, yeah.
So that was really cool to me because both
This
games
one
I
was
spent
really
a ton of time on. Yeah, both games were great actually. So
And they're still in my backlog.
yeah, those games were great.
Drop everything. Go play Infamous right now.
Well, it's good. It's yeah.
I played Second Son.
Game.
I thought Second Son was good.
I guess like that's the worst out of the 3 games. It's pretty good, but the second one was really good.
David, I think you and I had similar experiences, because I was experiencing Black Ops withdrawals from this, because I almost played it daily.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah, that's what I was talking about when I was saying like that was like the only online game that I played at the time. Like,
Exactly. And here's the thing. None of my friends owned a PS3. Everyone had 360s.
Yeah.
So I wasn't about to stoop down to their level and ask my parents to get a 360. But anyways, like I said, the personal info was not encrypted. Imagine that happening nowadays. They would face an even bigger backlash. But it seems like leaks happen every day now, almost. Anyways, on May 14th, 2011, services started to slowly come back online. And at the end of the day, this whole outage that Sony experienced cost them $171 million.
damn.
Yeah,
That's not that much if you think about it. Like, how many people lost their info? If it happened today, it would be 10 times more.
Oh yeah. I just think that whole situation was just handled poorly, if you ask me. They shut down the servers after the fact it happened. They knew something was up, and then all of a sudden they shut them down because this hack happened like weeks before. It was just a crazy time, and I know myself back in high school was like really like sad because he couldn't go home and get into his Call of Duty lobby into that toxic community and just like bash on some people and everything back in the day. But I don't know. I think it was worth mentioning for this PS3 podcast. I think that's one of the biggest things for Sony. At least one of the biggest things I remember from the PS3's lifestyle. But before we go into ATLUS PS3 games, what I want to talk about beforehand are the top 10 best-selling games on the PS3. And I've got a couple of numbers for y'all as well for the top 3 selling games, but what do you guys think about this list right here? At number 1 is Grand Theft Auto 5 at 29.52 million copies sold.
Let me interrupt you real quick before you keep going. I have a prediction. I didn't check the list. I feel like I'm not going to be... No, I feel like most of them are not going to even be in my top 10 games on PS3.
Okay.
That was my prediction.
Okay. What about you, Kuro? What do you guys expect from this list?
Well, GTA, Call of Duty, Last of Us, maybe God of War,
Yeah, GTA, The Last of Us, and Call of Duty.
Okay. So, number 1 was GTA 5 at 29.52 million units, which is insane because the second best-selling game doesn't even come close to that. Gran Turismo 5 with 11.95 million units sold.
11 million. Oh my god.
That is like almost a third of what GTA 5 did on the PS3. That is insane to me.
That's almost more than the Shin Megami Tensei series that's been running since '88.
It's crazy, just one game. Okay,
Yeah.
What's the third game?
Number 3 is The Last of Us with 7 million units.
Yeah.
And after that, I just didn't include any of the units. We got Uncharted 3, and this is in order, by the way. Uncharted 3, Uncharted 2, Metal Gear Solid 4, Batman Arkham City, which is a game I will simp for till the day I die. Love the Arkham series so much. Gran Turismo 5 Prologue is on the list. God of War 3, and then rounding out the list is Gran Turismo 6 at number 10. What do you guys think? Is it what you expected?
Better than I expected. Metal Gear Solid 5.
4.
4. Batman Arkham City is awesome. So, yeah.
People don't talk about the... Man, I really wish they would make a new Arkham game. I really miss those. They're so good. No, the Gotham Knights doesn't count or whatever it is.
Well, I think it's going to be cool. I think Gotham Knights going to be cool. It looks promising.
They're making 2 games, not one. One is single player, one is multiplayer.
But the single player one is like a Suicide Squad game.
Yeah, so cool. It's still made by the same people.
We'll see. We'll see what happens. I'll probably buy it. Honestly, I could do a whole Arkham podcast because of how much I fell in love with that series.
When you want to do that, I'm a huge fan of them too.
Me too, man. I'm a huge Batman fan.
I didn't like Arkham Knight.
Say that I own those games in every single iteration they made so far.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't like Arkham Knight, but I liked the first 3 games.
Oh yeah, Arkham Knight wasn't as good as that.
I liked Arkham Knight.
I thought they were putting too much emphasis on the Batmobile. It was kind of like...
Oh, that annoyed me so much.
My favorite thing in that game was you could run people over, but it would shock them, and it wouldn't actually hit them, and they would just go into a state of shock. It's like, bro, I just ran you over with this entire vehicle right there, and you're saying it only shocked them?
Which is a tank, mind you.
Yeah, it's a tank.
Yeah, this is a tank.
But those games are good. Yeah, those games are good. It's my favorite one, that's kind of controversial because I feel like most people say City. Mine is Asylum, probably because the impact that it had on me. Mm-hmm. Like when I played it, I was blown away. So
I did not expect anything from Asylum, man. I remember when they first announced it, and then I got to play a demo at GameStop because they had it at one of the kiosks, and I was just blown away with how the game looked and everything, and the combat system is still mimicked to this day, I feel like.
The Arkham Knight, what pissed me off was the fact that they reworked the story from the comics, but it's like weirdly changed.
You're talking about the Long Halloween, right?
What's up?
The Long Halloween, is that what they base the story off of? I think that's
based off a couple different stories, but Jason Todd already has the Red Hood.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you didn't need to change him to like the way that they did. I don't know. Red Hood outfit is already cool as fuck with the helmet and everything. It's just a preference, really. But this is really not the podcast for that either.
Oh, we can discuss that sometime.
Yeah, we could
I'm
go
sure.
into a rant about it for hours, so we can get back on track.
I wanted to discuss whenever the brief history of the PS3. I'm sure there's a lot I didn't cover, but those are the big points that I want to go over. Right now, since this is an ATLUS podcast, I want to go over the different types of ATLUS games that were released for the PlayStation 3. Now, the ones that were developed for the PS3 by ATLUS, Catherine, which released on February 17th, 2011, was the first ATLUS PS3 game. I'm pretty sure we've all heard about that game here, right, guys? To this day, it's probably one of my favorite games of all time. Absolutely love Catherine.
The PS3, yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Persona 4 Arena, which released on July 26, 2012. Not my favorite game. I'm not a big fighter game. I know Kuro was a big fan of it, but...
Oh, yeah, I was a huge fan of that game.
Alright, here's one for y'all. Dragon's Crown, released on July 25th, 2013.
Love that game. You can call me a pervert, but it's fantastic looking.
It is. The art style is amazing, but that's Vanillaware, so it's not surprising.
Yeah, Vanillaware just has such an amazing art.
Really? And
oh yeah, I love like how they interpret shapes, with Morimura in 13 Sentinels, and
I love the shape of Morimura.
Yeah,
she's
they're
wonderful.
Good. They're great shapes. Very, very, very decent.
The work of art.
She is a work of art. I'd have her step on me any day of the week.
Next up is
Persona 4 Arena Ultimax, which released on August 28, 2014. It's pretty much a expanded version of Arena, as we all know here. I feel like it was a much better game than the original Arena was. But we also had Odin Sphere. I'm not sure how to pronounce the last part, but it was an Odin Sphere re-release on January 14th, 2016. Have y'all played Odin Sphere before?
Yeah.
It's a remake of the original game, actually.
Vita? Was that the PS Vita version?
Yes.
Or?
It was
Yes.
released on PS3, Vita, and PS4. It's actually a remake of the original game.
Mm-hmm.
It's good. It's really good.
Yeah.
I tried to pronounce
it.
it.
Dragon's Crown, personally.
I just like the style of it. It's different. They're way different.
It is very different, yeah.
And there was one last game that released on the PS3 from ATLUS as well. It's a little game called Persona 5, which was released on September 15th, 2016. Which I feel like a lot of people don't know that Persona 5 is actually on the PlayStation 3.
Yeah.
Newer fans, yeah, they don't know.
But
I
waited years for this one.
I remember being so excited for it. Yeah, waited so long for that game.
Yep.
It blows me away because by the time Persona 4 released here in the States, the PS3 was out. That was like 2008, 2009. People played it on their... Like, Kuro, you played it on your PS3.
Yeah, I did, yeah.
It took ATLUS... They skipped pretty much almost an entire generation to put out another mainline Persona game. Which shocks the hell out of me. Then again, Persona 5 has its own development history and everything, so we're not going to get into that today. But I also want to give you guys a list of ATLUS USA, ATLUS West published games. Ones that they didn't really develop, but some of these kind of raised my eyebrows a little bit. So in 2009, we got two games, Droplets and a little game called Demon Souls. ATLUS USA actually published that here in the West. I know Kuro's a big fan of Demon Souls. Do you guys have any experience with that?
I don't.
I don't either.
I did play that Demon Souls, yeah.
I did not know that ATLUS published that. That kind of blew my mind a little bit when I found out months ago that they did that.
Yeah.
Because I wasn't into like JRPGs or anything. I wasn't paying attention to Demon Souls, but I did have a friend in high school that kept on saying that, oh my god, you gotta play this game, it's Demon Souls. No idea that was ATLUS.
It's a big ask, but it's a wonderful game. And that new remake that they did, fantastic. I was hoping, that's kind of like, what if they had ATLUS just publish that one for the shit of it? Obviously they wouldn't because of the amount of money going into that. But I was really shocked because I was a fan of Persona by the time the game came out. So when I saw that it was published by ATLUS, it's kind of, to me, kind of like surprised me a little bit. Because at the time, Demon Souls was really niche.
Right.
It was almost as niche as like Persona. And I know some people, it's like, wow, really? Because, now the Souls games are like super popular and everything. But back then I remember grabbing it. Having to pre-order the game because they weren't going to stock enough copies in the store.
Right.
It's kind of weird. But yeah.
So I'm kind of rapid fire the rest of these games on this list, but if you have a game that you recognize, let me know, stop me if you have any comments towards it. In 2010 was 3D Dot Game Heroes.
Good game.
Also, you've played it. I saw that it's worth a lot of money now physically.
Yeah, it's a Zelda 1 clone.
Yeah, I heard.
It's like a Lego blocky style of game, but it's a really beautiful game too. It's fun. It's just pure fun. Simple game, but very fun. It's kind of hard too.
2011, Aqua Plus Dream Match. I don't know what the hell that is. The Testament of Sherlock Holmes, The Cursed Crusade, and The King of Fighters 13. In 2012, this surprised me. Game of Thrones. It had a PS3 game, and ATLUS published it. I don't know what it was. I remember seeing it on the shelf at a GameStop when it first came out. I didn't really watch Game of Thrones, obviously. I knew what it was, but when I first was like going through this list, I'm like, wait, are they talking? They can't mean the Telltale Game of Thrones game, but I remembered that old ass game. I don't think it got really good reviews at release.
No, it got really terrible reviews. I have it. It's not good.
In 2013, we had Xenoclash 2. 2014, we had Tears to Tiara. I'm not sure what that is. Tiara to Heir of the Overlord. Abyss Odyssey. And Lost Dimension. And in 2015, to round out the PS3 releases, we had God Mode. So, what do you guys think? Pretty weird lineup of games that they published over here in the States, huh?
They used to be good back in the day, and now it takes them a year to release a PS3 port that's already translated. I don't know what happened. I really don't know what happened, but hey, it's ATLUS for you.
I feel like it's almost like
that was a solid lineup. They used to publish the games of other devs, and nowadays they can't even localize their own games properly.
Oof.
I mean, it took them a year to publish Strikers. Like, I know there was the pandemic and stuff, but still, it's crazy. And it took them how many months? We're getting Nocturne in May. It took them 10 months.
And look at 2011, man. It's not that they developed the games, but they published 4 games on the PS3 in 2011. It's like that's quite a bit, for a company.
Yeah.
Just publishing. I know they didn't develop it, but that's still money in their pockets. Mm-hmm. To me, that was like a weird time in ATLUS's history where they were just publishing random games. And there's even weirder ones for the Vita. That's going to be episode 4 by podcast. But pretty solid lineup, honestly. ATLUS was all over the place with their games. And another thing that ATLUS did for releasing games during the PS3 era was we got PS2 Classic ports on PS3 as well, something that we still don't have to this day on PS4 and PS5. So if you buy these on the PlayStation Store, they're only for your PS3. So let me just go over the games right quick. And Persona 3 FES was one of them, which is how I experienced a game on my PS3. They also released the vanilla Persona 4, Shin Megami Tensei 3 Nocturne, Digital Devil Saga 1 and 2, and Devil Summoner Raido Kazunoha versus the Soulless Army, and Devil Summoner 2 Raido Kazunoha versus King of Baton. So, guys, why haven't we gotten more of these ports during the PS4 life cycle?
I have no idea.
Honestly, it's just like Atlas is sitting on a mountain of gold. Like there's like this. I just imagine them just kind of being like on top of all this massive library of games that could be released, and for some odd reason they just won't.
I mean, I know it's like the PS4 and PS5 can obviously emulate these old PS2 games. No problem. No, you don't even have to remaster them. You don't have to put them in Unity, slap a $50 price tag on it, and call it a day. All you have to do is release them in their forms, have them emulate on the new hardware. Like Persona 3 FES, I know David's not the biggest Persona 3 fan. Fuck you, David. But, honestly, if they just had you emulate that just the way it is, just made it so you could play, 1080p 60 FPS, didn't touch anything else, sold it for $20, I think it'd be a smash hit.
Oh yeah, but are they gonna do it?
I really think sometime this year.
It's coming on Steam. Not on consoles.
Yeah, I see that. But I mean, let's look at the other games that they could potentially at some point re-release. I don't know.
Jack Bros.
Persona has a bigger chance to be re-released than SMT, but
Absolutely.
Speaking of Jack Bros,
I am putting all my chips into Devil Digital Saga 1 and 2.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, because they're running on the same engine as Nocturne, and Nocturne did well sales-wise in Japan. So
yeah, so those are one of the, in Japan at least, those are one of the better selling games in Japan.
Not the original ones. Digital Devil Saga 1 and 2 were not big success in Japan.
Was
when
not?
They released the remastered Nocturne HD remastered sold well, but Digital Devil Saga 1 and 2 were not big sellers even in Japan.
Oh really? Yeah, that they at least perform well, but I don't know.
Not too bad, like not as bad as Raito, but not as good as Nocturne either. So or Persona.
I'm hoping they release it. I would love those games.
Absolutely.
I think that the PS3 had a very decent lineup of classic PS2 games that you could buy digitally. I was going through my list of games the other night while I was on the PlayStation Store. I bought a copy of Need for Speed Most Wanted PS2 years ago for my PS3. And I booted that up. It ran like shit, but then again, a lot of games ran like shit during this era of gaming, during this PS3 game.
720p. You know what's really funny is that, like, now that you think about it, the graphical fidelity wasn't like super good. But just looking at it backwards, like if you look at it in the perspective of you as a younger person playing these games, you're kind of like,
oh dude, I didn't care as long as I was driving at full speed running away from the cops on Need for Speed Most Wanted. I was cool with it. I booted it up on my PS3 the other night because I bought it years ago. It's gotten delisted ever since from the PlayStation Store. I booted it up. It looks like shit, and it runs at sub 30 FPS.
I played it on the PSP, and it ran like complete ass.
Mm-hmm.
And I still played it, and the hell out of it. I still enjoyed it.
It's still a fun game. I love it.
Yeah, it's a really good game. Yeah.
It was a really good game. Hot take, better than Underground 2.
Dude, it's the best Need for Speed game ever released.
Well, believe it or not, that's a hot take. Most people say Underground.
I liked Underground too, but there was so much. You had this open world to explore. You could get in trouble. The biggest part for me was getting in trouble with the cops and then nailing them, going through like one of those gas stations, and that would like collapse the entire thing on top of them and everything.
Very realistic. And
that woman that you see at the beginning of the game, she helped me become a man.
Next up.
This wouldn't be a podcast with me if I didn't make some stupid comment like that, bro. You know me.
Of course.
Anyways, I think we're pretty much done with like PS3's history and ATLUS on PS3. What I want to talk about next for the final segment of this podcast is our memories that we've had. Obviously, we've been talking about memories this entire podcast, but I want to get you guys' thoughts. So, the PlayStation 3 was discontinued in North America in October 2016 and May 2017 in Japan. Now, as I said at the beginning, the PS3 store closes on July 2nd, 2021. When you guys look back on the PS3, do you feel like it was a success by Sony? And what do you think its legacy is?
I have something to say about the PS3 actually. The game, well, the games, they, they're, as I mentioned before, my biggest library of games in my collection is the PlayStation 3, and there's a lot of games that I like, but there's not that many games that I couldn't live without. Like, the PS3 doesn't have a lot of games in my top 10 games of all time, but it has a ton of games in like my top 30, if that makes any sense. So whenever someone asks me to choose between the PS3 and the PS4, I'm like, well, there's a lot of games that I love that are like 7, 8 out of 10 on PS3, but on PS4, some of my top 5 games of all time are in there.
Right.
So that's the thing.
Solid lineup of games. Very solid lineup of games on the PS3.
Yeah, absolutely. There's some good games on there for sure. Overall, I love this system, though. I think it's very reliable. At least it was for me. And I hold a lot of good memories with it. Playing online, having my little time frame of being an online gamer before I fell back into Japanese games, which I don't regret, by the way. No, it's a cool little system.
Kuro, what do you think?
I don't think it was necessarily a success for Sony, and they definitely learned a lot of stuff from that system into like going into a PS4, which also seems like they didn't learn enough because they're also now screwing up again on the PS5, but that's a different topic. But overall, I feel like I have a lot of good memories with the PS3. This is not necessarily thinking that I played the best games on the PS3, but I had a good time with the system, and I definitely don't regret like spending money on it or like buying it or anything. Like we talked about things like the PlayStation Home, which I made a lot of friends through, and then playing online like Call of Duty. Jesus, I forgot.
Black Ops.
Black Ops. That was like the one game that I spent so much time on, like playing it. In fact, I bought the collector's edition with the. It had like a RC card.
Oh, really? You did?
Oh, you got that!
I own it. I still have it. It's actually like a lot of the stuff that I put in my shelf and everything. And PlayStation. I'm sorry. Resident Evil had like these random ass games. Resident Evil 5 and 6 are like terrible, but I still like that was like the weird era of games, I think.
Yeah.
But like some of my favorite games like BioShock, Borderlands,
BioShock, that's right.
Fear, obviously like the Persona games, Catherine, Fallout 3, Fallout New Vegas. Like I mean like Skyrim. Like I can still go on and on.
Right. And that's the thing about the PS3. Like some games didn't run as well because the PS3 is a powerful machine. The only thing is that developers couldn't find a way to develop games for it because the architecture was just so complex. I won't say
it was pretty advanced. Like I was looking at an article actually, as far as like if they were to reuse that into like the PS5, which I think also like a lot of people were afraid of that, but it could easily still like be a pretty good machine nowadays if they like reworked it and everything. But I don't know I forgot the name of the developer, the guy that worked on it. He was way ahead of his times for that machine.
Anyways, Kuro was just talking about his favorite game series and everything on PlayStation 3. I want to get you guys' opinion. What are your favorite games that came out of the PlayStation 3? I know, David, you said you have a lot of games that released on there that you like wouldn't put in your top 10 games, but that you still loved. I want to get both of you guys' opinion. What's your favorite games that released on the PlayStation 3?
Okay, I have a lot to say with this one because I thought about it before we started the podcast. Okay. I have a couple of answers for my favorite game for whatever reason. So yeah, I'm going to cheat. First pick is the one where I'm going to cheat. I'd say Yakuza 0 because it released on PlayStation 3
in Japan.
So I'm going to cheat with this one. Obviously, I only played it on PS4, but it's in my top 5 games of all time, so I had to say it. It released on PS3 in Japan. Other than that, my favorite, probably Catherine or like Yakuza 3, probably. shout out to the BioShock games. They're awesome. Obviously, Skyrim, as Kuro mentioned.
I was going to mention about BioShock, by the way. It actually took them a while to get the PS3 version over here. Because it wasn't exclusive to Microsoft for a while.
Yeah, it came out in 2007.
Kind of like with Mass Effect 1.
And then it took a minute before they were able to get it running. Mass Effect 2, oh my god, now you're bringing up Mass Effect, Dragon Age, shit. There was another one that I had like a lot of good memories with. I'm actually looking at my list right here, right next to me. Hell, Guitar Hero.
Yes, yes.
What was another one? Rock Band?
Rock Band, yep.
Jesus, I forgot the name of this one. Dead Rising, Marvel vs. Capcom 3. Like I don't know. I played a lot of games on the PS3. The Blaze Blue games, that's where I played them. Guilty Gear. What was it? There was a game that I'm kind of escaping me here. No, it wasn't super popular, but I really enjoyed it.
One thing that you can say about some PS3 games, though, the PS3 life cycle gave Sony some of their most iconic series, such as The Last of Us. We got Uncharted during the PS3 life cycle. I mean, just some of the most iconic names in gaming.
Yeah, you're right. I totally agree with you. He has some of the most iconic games. Like I know David doesn't like The Last of Us. But I still consider I put it in high regard for like one of the best games.
I can still say that they're good games. They're just not for me. Like Last of Us, the Legend of Heroes series, all of those games, like they're great games. They're quality. They're just not for me. So
The Last of Us literally saved my life back in the day. So that's why it holds a special part of my life. So because of that, I would have to say the PS3 is probably it's the first console I purchased, and it might be my favorite console of all time because of all the memories that I have linked to it. So not to say that's a better console than the PS4, definitely not. But I use the PS3 for so many things. I probably got more hours out of the PS3, just not playing games. I would put movies on a jump drive. The family would watch it and everything, because that was at the time where smart TVs weren't a thing, and the PS3 had apps and everything. You could watch movies and photos and everything. It was insane. PS3 just...
Yeah.
Go ahead, man. Go ahead.
I was gonna say I had I went through a really rough patch in my life. I think I talked about it with Persona 3 and everything. But my grandpa, who helped me buy the PS3, got really sick with cancer. And I remember staying at the hospital pretty much every day. And he was like, "Oh, bring your PS3 so you can just staying there at the hospital with me. You can hook it up for TV and play while you take care of me and everything." So that's what I do. I plugged it in. I'll sit there and play games, and I just spend time with my grandpa as he was getting sick and everything. It helped me to get through this really rough patch and everything. So. It really holds a really special place in my heart. It may not be my favorite console, but I think the PS2 is my favorite console. But the PS3 really has a really special place for me.
I think it's one of the most important console releases. I mean, Sony was riding high off the PS2 success, and I think they had to learn a lot of lessons from this generation of consoles.
Oh yeah, 100%. I totally agree with you.
A lot of stuff that came from it. I know a lot of people weren't fans of the interface, the UI and everything, but I really loved the X&B interface, where it had you have a tab over here for you could just scroll, and audio, video tab here, PlayStation Store tab over here. I loved that interface. I thought it was very sleek and
they added the teams, because teams before that weren't a thing on console. They added that team feature, which now everybody kind of loved. I mean, they even want it on the Switch and everything, but that was a Sony thing. They were the first ones to add that feature,
and we still don't have that on PS5.
We won't. There's no reason to.
Dude, I love my themes.
I know, and I do too. But if you look at the way the interface works on PS5, from like a designer perspective, it doesn't make sense. There's no reason for it.
Now, here's the thing: there's no reason for the Switch not to have themes.
Exactly, I agree with that. There's no reason for the Switch not to have it because it lends itself so well for like a. I mean, you've seen like the hacked Switch and all the different
Bless you.
Themes that they made and everything. There's no reason why the Switch doesn't have a theme now, other than because Nintendo doesn't want to.
Right. Anyways, guys, I think we're going to wrap it up here in a second. Any final thoughts you have on the PlayStation 3? Any other memories that you want to share of the PlayStation 3 itself?
Not really. I think we went over all the important things that I wanted to mention personally, but the PS3 is a really good system, honestly. Don't sleep on it. There's a lot of games that you can go back to. They aged very well. Like those games, they aged well, even if there were like...
Look at GTA 5, man. Look at GTA 5. I mean...
GTA 5, Devil May Cry, Metal Gear Solid. There's a lot of games that aged super well, in my opinion, on the platform. Yep. Great little system.
Yeah.
Any final thoughts, Kuro?
No. I mean, I think David already summarized it pretty well.
I think we can all agree that the PlayStation 3 is just a very special system. It didn't get enough love back in the day. Hopefully one day it'll get recognized for what it was. I think that day's coming, but I think when the store shuts down in July, it'll be like the end of an era, really. So, an important part of gaming history. So, thank you guys so much for joining me for this episode of the King Games Podcast. Thank you, David and Kuro, for being my guests. It was a lot of fun, as always. I always enjoy talking with y'all about these kinds of things. And I know this wasn't specifically about Atlus this time, but we played enough games on the side that we could get our way through this.
Absolutely. Thanks for having us on, man.
Oh,
Yeah, thanks.
Anytime. Episode 4 is coming soon. It will be on the PlayStation Vita, guys. Probably going to be uploaded around the same time, but I can't wait to talk about that. We're going to get into the, if you thought that the PS3 was a dumpster fire, let's talk about the Vita on episode 4. So, anyway, guys, thank you so much for joining me for this episode of the King of Games Podcast. I'll catch you guys later. King, out.
Take care, y'all.
Right.